Welcome into Outkick the show, boys and girls. The first week of the NFL season is officially done. We got games being canceled by hurricanes. We got things happening left and right in every possible direction you can imagine. My name is Clay Travis. This is Outkick the show. Let me tell you what I'm going to talk about today. 7 NFL teams need to panic, including 2 that were playing last night. Spoiler, the Lions and the Raiders. The Serena cartoon that has driven the country and the world crazy. I think this guy is like a cartoonist down in Australia, and Twitter got a hold of some Serena Williams cartoon, and they decided that it was racist. And I don't know what has happened. The guy did he get kicked off Twitter? I need to get more details about what specifically has happened to him. But I'm telling you, it is unbelievable, the fallout here. I'm going to show you the cartoon, and I'm going to be like, has nobody on Twitter ever seen a cartoon before? I mean, it's crazy to me. Cartoons exaggerate physical characteristics in order to make points of ridicule of their subject. That is what cartoons have done throughout the history of mankind. I don't understand how people are upset by that. Urban Meyer's wife blocked me on Twitter last night as part of some sort of Twitter tirade she got into after she tried to share, and I can't believe this is true, a flamingo wine cooler and used the hashtag no secrets, and then an Outkick fan said no secrets unless it comes to covering up domestic abuse. Miss America did away with their swimsuit, and guess what? Being woke is going to make them go broke. Nearly 25% of their audience did not show up after they took away pretty girls in bikinis. Turns out pretty girls in bikinis is one reason that people like to watch the Miss America competition. Here's an idea that I've got that I'm just tossing out there for a lot of different people involved in a lot of different industries. If something is working, keep doing it. Don't change for change's sake. Change to be better, not because you decide that suddenly you need to be more woke. And again, the TV show debuted. We got a lot to get to there. Let's start with the 7 NFL teams that need to panic. Watched NFL all day Sunday. Watched Monday Night Football until I fell asleep in my bed last night. There are 7 teams that need to completely panic right now. I know everybody says don't overreact to week 1 in the NFL. It's just 1 week. I'm telling 25 NFL teams they don't need to panic at all. But there are 7 of you out there that are fan bases. You need to panic. And I love how there's people out there and they say, you can't overreact to a week. And I'm like, are you kidding me? All we do in football is overreact to a long-ass offseason when nothing happens. Oh, this new draft pick's going to change everything. Oh, this new free agent signing's going to change everything. And then actual games start, and people are like, no. You can't overreact to week 1. Yeah, maybe you can't overreact to week 1 if Tom Brady is your quarterback and he's been great at it for 20 years. But you can definitely overreact if Tom Brady is not your quarterback, all right? 7 teams that need to panic. I'm going to give them to you in order. The Bills. The Bills are so bad right now. The positive is the Bills knew they were going to be so bad right now. Nathan Peterman was awful as a starting quarterback. One of the worst starting quarterback performances ever, only equaled by his prior starting quarterback position when he threw 5 interceptions. Now, I'm no expert here, but I think maybe there's the possibility that Nathan Peterman's not very good. Not an expert in X's and O's, not an expert when it comes to coaching, but I think based on the evidence we have seen on the football field, there's probably some evidence that Nathan Peterman is not very good at the game of football and is not really worthy of starting at quarterback in the NFL. Again, not claiming to be an X's and O's guy, but I got to say, the guy can't play in actual games, all right? The Bills are in the worst shape. The Cardinals. Everybody forgets that the Cardinals exist. I feel like they're out there in Phoenix, and other than a couple of years when they had Kurt Warner, people are like, oh, yeah, they got Larry Fitzgerald. The Cardinals got run on by Adrian Peterson to the tune of 200 yards, and Adrian Peterson is 78 years old. Not a good sign. Also, Alex Smith is Mr. September, and he showed up in that area, and he just absolutely dominated. By the way, I've got my Ben Shapiro drink here that I'm drinking out of. I lost my Outkick mug. I don't know where it is. So the Cardinals are awful. Got to start both of the quarterbacks that are young there. Got to start Josh Rosen, and you have to start Josh Allen. The Cowboys. All the Cowboys out there, you need to know this, you need to listen good. Your team is awful. Dak Prescott stepped into a pretty good situation. He stepped into a pretty good situation because he had Ezekiel Elliott, he had a talented offensive line, he still had Dez Bryant, he still had Jason Witten. Now he doesn't have Jason Witten. Now he doesn't have Dez Bryant. The offensive line has started to crumble a bit, and now he's only got Ezekiel Elliott, and you're seeing that Dak Prescott is just an okay quarterback. He's just mediocre. Defense is not awful, but Cowboy fans, you should be panicked. The Lions. Last night, Matthew Stafford threw 4 interceptions going up against a rookie starting his first Monday Night Football game. Matthew Stafford, somebody texted me and said, argument's sake, Matthew Stafford is the NFL's version of Carmelo Anthony. And you know what? I sat back and I think about that for a little bit, and I'm like, you know what? That actually makes a lot of sense. Matthew Stafford right now is the second highest paid player on an NFL football field this year. Number 1 this year is Jimmy Garoppolo. Number 2 this year is Matthew Stafford. I got to tell you, I think there's a strong argument that Matthew Stafford is the Carmelo Anthony of the NFL. Never can win. I believe I'm correct that Matthew Stafford has never won an NFL playoff game. Everybody comes after my boy Marcus Mariota. He's got a road playoff win. I think that makes a lot of sense. All right? The Titans. All right, you guys know that I'm a Titans fan. When the team's Twitter feed starts to pick on me, you know 2 things. 1, I have become super famous. All right? If the team's Twitter feed is taking shots at a season ticket holder, this is funny in and of itself. 18 years ago, when I was in the crowd for the Music City Miracle or whatever the hell it was, if you had told me that one day there would be something called Twitter and that the team's Twitter account would decide to take shots at me, I would have been like, this is crazy. What kind of world do we live in? But there's no doubt that I dominate Southern media and to an increasing extent dominate national media. So I thank them for dunking on me. It was the best thing that anybody sent out from the Titans all day. The Titans are screwed, especially if Mariota's hurt. I'm still a Mariota guy. I still believe in him. But I swear to God, if Blaine Gabbert is the guy, I'm not watching any Titans games for the rest of the year. I've got better things to do. What better things do? I might sleep. I might just start taking naps during the 3 hours when the Titans games used to air. The Steelers need to panic. Ben Roethlisberger is starting to enter into daft old man football age. You don't know when it's going to hit, and it's not necessarily a function of when you're in age range. It is that Ben Roethlisberger is just showing up now, and he's got a decent chance to throw 4 or 5 interceptions. And it's totally unbelievable, all right, how inconsistent he's become. And finally, the Raiders need to panic. Those are the 7 teams right now that need to panic. Everybody else out there in the media saying, hey, let's not panic. It's only 1 week. I'm telling you right now, if you are a fan of the Bills, the Cardinals, the Cowboys, the Lions, the Titans, the Raiders, or the Steelers, you need to panic 1 billion%. All right? All of those teams need to panic. By the way, my top 5 in the NFL right now in order: Vikings, Chiefs, Ravens, Bucks, Redskins, Rams. That's 6 teams. But I only judge them based on what's happened on the field. All right. I got to tell you this right now. Did you see this cartoon? All right? This cartoon, let me find it on my phone if you haven't seen it. All right? I'm going to try to make it big. That's what she said. I'm going to try to make it big so everybody can see it. This is the cartoon that has gone viral all over Twitter and Facebook and everything else. All right? I want to zoom in on Facebook so you guys can see it. I'm going to zoom in here on Periscope so everybody can see it, all right? Everybody should be able to see that. Everybody has decided on Twitter that this cartoonist is a horrible racist for sending this out, all right? Can everybody see it? That's Serena Williams. And for people who are listening on the podcast, it's Serena Williams. You can Google it. She is stomping on her racket at the U.S. Open, and there is a guy talking to a tennis match, and the other person says, can you just let her win, all right? Somehow, the internet has decided that this is racist, all right? This is a really, really strange situation that we've got in. What has happened in America is anytime you get criticized, if you are a particular identity group, you blame the criticism on your identity. Nobody steps back and says, you know what? There were 88 penalties called on men for penalty points versus 22 for women. You don't even look at the data. People in the media applauded Serena Williams for saying that this was an example of racism and sexism based on the way she was treated. Her own coach admitted he was coaching, all right? That was a point penalty eventually. He says everybody coaches from the stands. I don't know exactly, but the coach admitted that he was coaching. Serena Williams then berated the umpire and said she doesn't cheat because she's a mom. Now, I don't know what kind of convoluted example is going on here. Serena Williams' daughter will only know about the story of this match if she decides to look it up in several years. As a parent of 3 children, I can firmly tell you that my kids do not pay attention to every little controversy that I am involved in on a day-to-day basis. Do you know why? Because they are kids, okay? I'm telling you right now, this is not remotely racist. What has happened is, and this is important to understand because I think it really personifies the era that we're in and how sports is getting drawn into it. What has happened is people have said racism is bad. And there's a general belief and agreement, I think, that racism is bad. And other people have said, you know what, sexism is bad. And there's a general belief and agreement that judging somebody based on their sex is also bad. These are not controversial statements. And what happens instead, first of all, I'm going to block this guy because he's like, white guy's perspective. That's a great example. What this person just said that I'm blocking is really kind of fascinating. White guy's perspective. If you said that about any other race or gender, it would be racist and sexist. But when a white guy shares his opinion, it's allowed for people to say, oh, you're a white guy sharing that opinion. Well, you would never say, oh, you're just a black girl sharing that opinion. Or, oh, you're just an Asian man sharing that opinion. Or, oh, you're a Hispanic woman sharing that opinion. No. The only race and group where people can say, oh, you know what? That's a white guy's opinion in the country today is white men. And look, you don't have to agree with my opinion, but my opinion is not predicated on my race and gender because my brain is not gendered or raced. My brain works to come up with ideas that don't directly implicate my race and gender. Furthermore, blaming or assigning someone's race and gender to their opinion is actually racist because you were saying the reason you believe that is because of your race and gender, and it's impossible for you to believe something else. Okay? This is an important distinction in our country. All right? What I am saying is racism and sexism are acknowledged wrongs. Okay? What we have moved into is an era where we are trying to create a safe space that surrounds racism and sexism and often allows other things that are not remotely racist or sexist to be branded as racist or sexist if they make anyone uncomfortable at all. Okay? And this is an important distinction because throughout most of human history, people didn't read Huckleberry Finn and say, oh my God, we can't allow someone to be exposed to bad words. They said, you know what, this is a 300-page novel. And in that 300-page novel are many very complicated and important stories that need to be examined. And instead of believing that people who are adults are not capable of understanding some things which they find to be uncomfortable, that means that they should never, ever be in front of them ever again, is the era that we're in now. I go on social media, and I'll tie this in with Shelly Meyer, and sometimes you guys share with me tweets that people have sent. And they're often people, most often people, that I've never heard of or never interacted with. And they have me blocked. And what I have seen happen again and again is the further left you are, the more likely you are to block out anything that in any way challenges the worldview that you have created. I don't ever block anyone based on their political opinions or their opinions on sports. Sometimes I have to block people because they are incessantly tweeting me. And I want to be able to read my mentions to see what people are sending. But there are so many people in the world of sports media that have blocked me that I have never, ever interacted with. Okay? I got to tell you, it's really strange behavior to seek out someone like me who you don't know at all and decide, you know what? Clay Travis's ideas are so overwhelming to me. His opinions make me so uncomfortable that I never want them to confront me at all. And what you have created is a zone of silence and also a cone of acceptable and unacceptable behavior, which often encompasses larger issues which have nothing at all to do with race or with gender. And that's what happened with this Serena Williams cartoon. It's not remotely racist. This is how cartoonists work. They take a character and they exaggerate it for comedic effect. Every cartoonist in America draws Donald Trump throwing fits all the time. They did the same thing with Barack Obama. They did the same thing with Abraham Lincoln. This is how it works, okay? This is how cartoonists work. They satirize the features of powerful people to draw them down to earth. And I don't know why this is remotely surprising. And they often take physical characteristics of that person and they exaggerate it for comedic effect. The fact that people don't understand that on social media, I think, is often a function of a lack of experience and understanding in their worldview because they are so isolated. They don't even know what cartoonists do because they've probably never read a newspaper or seen a political cartoon. It is caricature, okay? And every time you get caricatured, it isn't racist. Everybody getting treated the same is about as lack of racist as you can get. And the fact that Serena Williams in 2018 can turn an argument with an umpire into an opportunity for her to demonstrate sexism and racism in the world is so upsetting to me in many respects, because it's all about creating this idea of victimization. When I was growing up, and I'm not that old, 39 years old, I was told that you don't want to be a victim, right? For most of my life, I was taught stand up to the bully. All my childhood, I was taught stand up to the bully. Don't allow yourself to be a victim. Now what we do is we teach kids to curl up into the fetal position and be afraid of everything. And this goes everywhere, okay? This goes across all of life. There's a great story recently I was reading about parents not letting their kids go down to the playground in their neighborhoods because they're afraid that something bad is going to happen to them. We live in a media culture marinated in fear, convincing us that we are in perpetual danger because it makes the media networks more money. And this translates across everywhere. Kids today in America are more safe than kids were in the 1940s and the 1950s statistically. Okay? There is less violence in America today than there was in the 1950s. What we are more aware of is when that violence happens. But we are very poor at understanding the probabilities associated with that violence. Racism and sexism are wrong and bad, but racism and sexism have never been more rare than they are right now in American history. Okay? And my concern is when you create artificial examples of racism and sexism, what you end up doing is actually creating a lot of different Donald Trumps, because there are people out there who punch back against a false narrative and drive it home to an audience that feels it even if they don't know exactly what they feel. Okay? I'm telling you right now, Serena Williams, I read the great piece in the New York Times by Martina Navratilova. She wasn't embodying what we want a top athlete to embody. I'm not saying I don't lose my temper sometimes, but you don't see a lot of parents out there saying, oh, I lost my temper, and the reason why people were mad at me was because of my race or my gender, right? And also, wanting some, this is what Martina Navratilova did. It's a really smart perspective. She said, wanting to be equal with men doesn't mean that you aspire to behave as poorly as male tennis stars. It's a really great point that I think gets lost. Equality does not mean that you aspire to the worst attributes of the other sex, right? For a long time in society, we have been focused on equality, right? The root cause of this issue is that equality does not exist, right? That's what people get upset. You can be treated equally under the law, but we are not born equal. No one is. There are lots of people who had more advantages at birth than me. There are lots of people who did not have as many advantages as me at birth. There are lots of people who are more athletic than me. There are lots of people who are better looking than me. There are lots of people who write better than I do. But we are not all created equal. We all have different talents. And this is one of the great flaws that people don't need to understand. There's a difference between equality under the law, which is aspired to and desired, and I think exists in America today, and everybody being treated equal. Okay? I'm telling you this right now. There are all sorts of things that women don't have to deal with that men do. Women are very, very rarely murdered by other women. You go look at the murder statistics in this country, 94%, I think, of all murders are committed by men. And I think men are 94% of all murder victims. Okay? Murder is not equal in this society. Women are far less likely to be murdered, right? That's not an equal. You wouldn't say like, oh, we want to be equal in murder in this country. No, you want to aspire to reach a level of equality under the law, which we have, but all men and women don't have to be equal in every way. And they aren't equal in every way. As I always say, biology is sexist. Anyway, I got to keep going because I got a show to do. The point is, this Serena cartoon has exposed an awful lot of ridiculousness, okay? Here's something else that happened. Urban Meyer's wife decided that she was going to tweet out a picture. This is crazy. I can't believe that Urban Meyer's wife would decide to send out a tweet saying that that she has no secrets, all right? This is pretty crazy. This is a tweet I'm going to share with you guys, right? You can see it off my phone right now. Shelly Meyer, Urban Meyer's wife, tweeted, "You're next on the thank you list. This is too cute. Insulated flamingo wine bag. Adorbs." By the way, if you use the word adorbs, you drive me crazy. Can we all agree that the use of the word adorbs instead of just saying adorable is really frustrating, all right? Emoji. So many people know about my flamingo thing. Hashtag no secrets. All right, here is the picture of this flamingo wine cooler that Urban Meyer's wife tweeted out. Now, if your husband was in the middle of being accused of covering up domestic violence at his university, and if you were accused of not sharing text messages with your with your husband and other people at Ohio State, would you decide to use the hashtag no secrets? Wouldn't a part of your brain think for a minute, maybe don't use the no secrets hashtag? Maybe just for a second you would think, maybe I don't need the hashtag. I don't even need to get into the ridiculousness of Urban Meyer's wife deciding that she has to tweet out to everybody that she got a brand new flamingo wine cooler so everybody can see how awesome it is. If I were Urban Meyer, I would be like, oh my God, Shelly, did you have to tweet out a picture of your flamingo wine cooler to everybody on social media and use the hashtag no secrets? And I'm sure Urban Meyer's wife would be like, you don't tell me what to do, Urban, because that's what every wife has ever said to her husband when her husband has questioned any decision that she's ever made. That's 100%. So Urban Meyer probably won't even say anything. But I guarantee you if he sees this, he's going to be like, a GD wine cooler? A GD Flamingo wine cooler? That's what you did? And so then one of you out there, and I don't know who you are, one of you out there who goes by the moniker Fish Taco on Twitter decides to say, no secrets unless you get text of domestic abuse, and then he tags me in it. So last night I'm sitting around watching Monday Night Football, and I have no idea what's going on, and my phone blows up, And I'm getting all these mentions tagged with Shelly Meyer, but I can't see them because she's blocked me at some point. I don't know when Shelly Meyer blocked me at some point. I never tweeted Shelly Meyer. I don't know Shelly Meyer. I got no connection to her at all. That's a really funny response from Fish Taco. And then Shelly Meyer blocks me and she loses her mind. So then this morning, I tweet back to Shelly Meyer, I got a question for you. Maybe don't use the no secrets hashtag if your husband deleted all his old text messages and Ohio State covered up that fact to keep him employed. Just an idea. Also, while you're responding to people, why didn't you tell Urban about the domestic abuse? All right? I got to tell you, sometimes what people do on social media blows my mind. Shelly Meyer, really dumb, right? Really dumb. I got to share my Flamingo water cooler or wine cooler. Just just text the person who gave it to you. Do you really need to share a picture of your Flamingo wine cooler? I don't think so. Miss America ratings tank. Turns out, I know this is going to shock you guys, turns out men like to see women in bikinis. I know a lot of you out there are like, no, you're crazy. I just listen to me here. Follow me along on this logic. Men like to see, in general, men like to see women wearing less clothes as opposed to more clothes. Now, I know this is going to blow your mind, but I try to be a truth teller, and I've got a radical proposition here. In general, men like to see women in less clothes as opposed to more clothes. And so when Miss America decided for some reason, you know what? We don't care what women look like in bathing suits, and they took away the bikini competition, there were a lot of people out there, myself included, who said this is so stupid. If you don't want to be in a pageant where you have to wear a bikini, then don't be in a pageant where you have to wear a bikini. People are like, well, do you know how hard those women work to look good in those bathing suits? Yes. Do you know how hard men work to look good in the WWE? Do you know how hard NFL players work to be ripped up in the off season so when they come into the season they can try to kill each other on the football field? Newsflash. People who look good in bathing suits, generally speaking, make decisions to make themselves look better in bathing suits. I know it's not, it's fashionable to point out that you can lose weight by eating less, but this is undefeated, right? There's never been somebody who went on a desert island and put on weight, right? Except for Hurley and Lost. And that's why I never could really appreciate the television show Lost, all right? You go watch Castaway. Everybody who's ever been on a deserted island has lost weight. Do you know why? Because they don't eat as much, all right? If you want to lose weight, the secret is simple. Don't eat as much food, all right? If you want to look better in your bathing suit, there's no great secret. It's don't eat as much food. And I'm sure that there are lots of people who look good in their bathing suits this summer that decided not to eat a piece of chocolate cake so they would look better, all right? The fact that we address how people look in bathing suits as a negative as part of Miss America is crazy to me. Now, if you want to give them a live test to determine how intelligent they are, I would love that. The best part of Miss America by far, or Miss USA, or Miss Universe, is the question. I love the questions more than anything because we can figure out who is a total dingbat. But if you want to give them like a 20-part multiple choice test, I will walk out there and proctor it. I will stand there with the test, and then we can get the old school Scantrons and put them through the machines and see what they actually scored right there live on television. You had 20 questions, very basic questions. You scored a 4. You are a dingbat. You are eliminated. I am all for humiliating people because they've done things that make them dumb, right? Being dumb is a choice. If you are good looking and you have chosen to stay dumb, it's probably because you decided that your good looks would cancel out your stupidity. And you might be right. But in the Clay Travis pageant, we are going to focus on your stupidity. What I want, I got a crazy idea. I want a good looking woman who is also smart, who also looks good in a bikini. That's what Miss America should be to me. Am I crazy? The ratings dropped 23% because people said, I don't want to watch this PC bullshit version of Miss America. I want to see everybody in the bikinis. I want the questions. I want things to stay the same. Here's my thing. Don't change things that work. You don't see me shaving my head. You don't see me deciding that I'm going to do a 3-hour morning radio show focused on horse racing. You don't see during football season, or any season for that matter. I do what works. And I keep doing what works. And as a result, more people pay attention to what I'm doing. This is not rocket science. You don't have to be Matt Patricia and be a rocket scientist and give up 48 points. TV show has debuted. It's going to be on in 30 minutes. Go watch it. I'm Clay Travis. This is Outkick the Coverage. If you enjoyed the show, share it with your friends. Go get the best sporting lines you can at sportsbookreview.com. Go get your mortgages and your credit card debt wiped out at sportsbookreview.com. I love all of you. Kisses from me. DBAP, boys and girls, unless SBAP is necessary, and sometimes it is. I'll see you on FS1 in a half hour. Going to make you rich, even though all my gambling picks lost last night. Tonight's the night. I'm going to make you rich. I promise. Maybe. This is Outkick the Coverage on Fox. FS1 coming up, but this is Outkick the Coverage. Outkick the Show. I can't even keep track. I got too many different shows to keep track of. This is Outkick the Show. I hope you liked it. I'll see y'all.